So students, to describe an event, frame of reference is important. How? Suppose you are in a car. We consider motion of a car on a road. So how to describe? One can say you are at rest when another one inside the car observes you. But if a man is outside the car and the outside man observes that man inside the car, he will see that man inside the car is in motion. That means frame of reference is different here. So one is inside the car frame, another is outside the car frame. So to describe an event, frame of reference is very important. Students, I am giving one example. Suppose this is the path like this. Suppose this is your origin. This is suppose your P point. This is suppose your Q point. This is suppose your R point. I consider this is x-axis and these are the position like this. Suppose this is the origin, means at this point origin means x is equal to 0 and you take t is equal to 0. That means the motion of the car or the motion of the object starts from this position and it moves like that. Suppose I take car moves from O to P. Suppose P point is, suppose this is 320. It is in meter. This is x-axis. This is minus x because origin towards left minus, origin towards right we take plus. So plus x-axis, minus x-axis. Suppose O to P, P position is 320 meter, or we say Q position is 160 meter, like that. So if a car moves from O to P, so what is the distance covered or length or path length we say? So OP is nothing but your 320 meter. OP is plus 320 meter. So this OP is the distance covered by the car or the actual path of the path. So this is the actual path of the or actual length of the path traveled by the car, and that is called your distance. So from one moves from, or this car moves from O to P, means the distance is 320 meter. Suppose I change, it moves from O to P, then P to Q, O to P, then P to Q. So what is the path length? The path length will be how much? That is your path length, we say path length. What is this? This path length will be 320 plus how much? 160, that is 480 meter. This is the length of the path. How? You see, from O to P 320, P to Q, this is 160 because 160 to 332 is 160. So 320 plus 160 is equal to 480 meter. So why I am giving this example, students? This is the actual length of the path. Suppose I say a car starts from O, it reaches P, then it comes to Q. So what is the actual length of the path? That is OP plus PQ, that gives you 480 meter. So this is the distance. So I think you understand what is distance. Distance is the actual length of the path covered by the object or car. So this distance is a scalar which has only magnitude and no direction. This scalar vector concept will be taught later. So since it is a scalar, it has only magnitude, that is 480 meter, and no direction. It has no direction, keep in mind. But on the other hand, if you consider the path like this, suppose one moves from O to P, P to Q, what is the displacement or what is the shortest path? So if one moves from O to P, then P to Q, that means the shortest length is OQ. O to P, then P to Q. That means this is the initial position, this is the final position. So initial point is O, final point is Q. So coordinate of O is 0, coordinate of Q is 160. So how to find out this shortest path? That shortest path can be found out as delta x is equal to x2 minus x1. One says, what is x1? What is x2? x1 is the position of an object at time t1. x2 is the position of an object at time t2. So delta x is what? Final position minus initial position, and this is nothing but, students, displacement. So here displacement delta x is equal to final position x2 minus initial position x1. And keep in mind, if x2 is greater than x1, then that delta x is positive. If x2 is less than x1, then delta x is negative. So this is the displacement. So what is displacement? One says the shortest path between initial point and final point, or you say this is the change in position of an object. I mean, initial position is this, final position is that. So what is change in position? That gives you displacement. And displacement is a vector quantity. I have already told you that will be taught later. So displacement is a vector. It has both magnitude as well as direction. I mean, you see, magnitude means, suppose you take x2 minus x1, that gives you how much? If you take x2 minus x1, suppose x2 is how much, x1 is how much. If you take the difference, you will get the result. I am taking the example like this. You see, if one moves from origin to P, then to Q, then your initial position x1 is what? 0. Your final position x2 what? Your 160. So what is delta x? Final position minus initial position that gives you 160 minus 0, that is 160 meter. So in this case, displacement is 160 meter. Suppose one says, sir, a body travels from P to Q. If a body moves from P to Q, your initial position here 320, because it starts from this and ends at that. So initial position is this, final position is that. So delta x is the displacement is equal to how much? That is final minus initial, that is 160 minus 320, that is minus 160 meter. So what does it indicate? Minus 160 meter. 160 meter is the magnitude, but this negative sign indicates direction of displacement. Negative sign indicates direction of displacement. How? Because this is positive x-axis. But since body moves from P to Q, starting point P, ending point Q, so this is what? Negative x-axis. I mean towards negative x-axis. That's why negative comes. So negative sign indicates direction of displacement. Therefore, one says displacement may be positive, displacement may be negative. So in this case, displacement is positive. In that case, displacement is negative. And in some case, displacement is 0. How? Suppose one starts from O, moves to P, then reaches O. I mean initial point is equal to final point. This is the case. Again returns. So since initial point is equal to the final point, displacement is 0. So displacement may be 0, displacement may be positive, displacement may be negative. Since it is a vector quantity, we say like this. So I think you understand what is distance, what is displacement. If I take the summary, distance is nothing but the actual length of the path covered by an object. This is always positive for moving object. This cannot be 0, cannot be negative for moving object. But on the other hand, displacement is the shortest path between initial point or starting point and final point or ending point. It may be positive, it may be negative, it may be 0.